Hey guys, 2 Second but not special video. Today we are going to be reacting to the deadly Korean bridge collapse that killed 32 bus filled with students fell 66 feet into Han River. Now this is going to be a very sad and wholesome video. It's just going to have dark moments. It's just gonna be a lot. So if you guys can't handle it, you guys are not need to stick around. I like watching stuff like this though. It piques my interest. So yeah. We're gonna get this video started. Grab some snacks and drinks. And, like, here we go. This is a 15, almost hour long video, so let's go.
Bada bing, bada boo.
A sinking car will be fully submerged within 30 to 120 seconds. So you have essentially 2 minutes, if you're lucky.
Okay, hold up. Your cars sink in 30 to 22 seconds? That's how long it takes. Oh my god. And then she said I was saying 2 minutes. That's already, okay, I'm sorry. That's already crazy though.
To get out of that submerged car, and it's gonna be terrifying. Every second of it is going to be like life or death. The minute that your car hits that water, the front of your car is gonna start to nosedive straight down into the river, the ocean, wherever you may be. The front of the car is typically heavier, so it starts slowly sinking and bringing in more water. Now,
it's because your engine is the engine probably makes the front of your car heavier, so that's why the front part of your car sinks down first. Well, I can't do English, but I get what Kenji means, but sometimes when he stutters over words, I can't do English. Same, bro. Fucking same. Anyway, but that's crazy. Like, I get that, because the engine in front of your car to make your car sink down faster, I'm guessing, right?
this is what some professionals have advised you to do if you're in these types of situations. Roll down the windows as fast as you can. You're about to hit that water, roll down the window. You're in the water, roll down the window. Because once you're fully submerged, it's going to be nearly impossible to open your car door.
Okay, I get that. I know once your car door won't open because there's so much pressure from the water that it won't open. But I feel like rolling down the window, you're gonna let the water in, and that's gonna make you panic even more, no?
And if your car windows stop working, then you're going to be trapped inside the car with zero escape. You're going to drown to death inside the car.
Okay.
So roll down your windows because the power to operate the windows is only going to last so long. You have a very short window of opportunity before all the electrical systems are destroyed by the water.
Yeah.
If you can't roll down the windows, you got to find something to break it with.
Right.
Don't try and break the windshield. That is the thickest part of glass in the entire car. You got to use the side windows.
Okay,
then you take off your
windows, I get
seatbelt.
it.
You do not want to be restrained while you're trying to free yourself from drowning in a car.
Right.
Help other people out in the car and then swim out of the car safely. It's going
But
to be
I
the
can't
easiest to
swim.
swim out of the car when the water
I
level
can't
is
swim,
still
I'm not
below
very
your car
good.
window that's open. Now, once there's water coming in through that open car window, you're going up against the water pressure. Water's pushing you down, you gotta swim up against it. If you're not a strong swimmer, you might have to wait until the entire car sinks to the bottom and then wait for the water pressure to
I don't have
equalize
that much
before trying to
oxygen.
swim
I'm
up.
gonna die
Because
either
even
way.
if the car is fully submerged, it's still sinking. So the water is pushing it down and you're trying to go up.
Wow.
You can still do it, but it's going to take a lot more energy and a lot more skill. Wherever you are in this process, you're going to want to use your feet to kick off the car to try and propel yourself towards the surface. But what if you wake up in a sinking car? What if you didn't even see yourself falling? What if you weren't ready? You weren't alert. You didn't have any of the time to do these things. And now the car is filling up with water and you're panicking. In the Han River in Seoul, South Korea, 33-year-old Min Jun was knocked unconscious. He violently wakes up by the cold. It's just so cold. And he notices he's in the driver's seat of his car and there is cold water splashing into his car. It's slowly filling up. His feet are fully submerged at this point and now it's like trying to reach his knees. He's freaking out. Like, what the hell is going on? He has no idea why he's in water. He starts panicking. He's looking out the window. All he sees is water.
Yeah,
What the hell? His car is in the
middle.
middle of the Han River sinking. How did he even get here? He tries to push open the car door. He pushes, it doesn't even budge. Something is blocking it, or perhaps it's the water pressure that's high enough already. It won't move. He tries to slam his body up against the door to get it to open. It's not even moving a little bit, not even a single inch. So he's like, okay, calm down, think, we gotta think. He could hear his breathing ringing in his ears, and he's panicking. Even if he gets out, then what? Be plunged into the dangerous river in the middle of October? I mean, surely he's gonna quickly die. The currents are strong enough to drag him underneath the water, and if that doesn't happen, he's gonna die of hypothermia pretty quickly because he's in the middle of the river. But if he stays in the car, he's gonna drown. The car is gonna slowly submerge, and he's gonna drown to death either way. So no. He's gotta get out. And he had wasted so much energy trying to get that car door open.
I don't know if you can... The quality sounds better. I sound louder. I can make myself even more louder if I wanted to. But I tested the volume and it seemed fine when I tested it. It feel like you can hear myself more clearly. It doesn't sound so stuffy. It sounds more like clear, if I'm looking for the right words. Wait, I don't think I opened it up. I knew I was forgetting something. Yeah. New mic. I like it. I like how it sounds. I like how it gets louder. I like it all. I hope you can tell that it's different. I hope you can notice it. Sorry. I didn't mean to open that right into the mic. I'm gonna cookie though.
The water is now up to his waist. He has to think clearly. He tries to open the windows. It doesn't work.
Oh no.
It's broken. And he's thinking, okay, what do I do? What do I do? The window has a tiny hairline crack running through it. Minjun knew that this is the only way out, the only way to live, or at least have a shot at living. So he uses his elbow and he smashes it into the window once, twice, 3 times. The water is just coming up higher and higher, filling up the car, and it's splashing up against the car, trying to drag it down. I mean, the adrenaline is so high, he doesn't even feel how cold the water is anymore. He uses the weight of his body to smash into the window again, and it finally shatters. It breaks. He pushes out the glass shards. He takes one last breath, closes his eyes, and jumps out the window. And he plunges straight into the cold concrete.
Ooh.
And he's like, what the hell? Why is this not water? He opens his eyes and he looks around. His car was half submerged in water, but still resting on a piece of concrete that is now floating in the Han River.
Oh my God.
A giant piece of concrete the size of 2 football fields is now floating in the water. It does not belong there. It wasn't there 2 seconds ago. And behind him, Minjun sees what looks straight out of an apocalyptic movie. Floating on the concrete island is a bloodbath. People crawling out of their crushed cars, moaning for help. People in the...
Hey, Elder Goblin! Thank you for the raid! What's up, bro? Hello! Welcome to the stream. We are just reacting to a video right now. It's gonna be a very wholesome... Not wholesome. It's gonna be a very kind of like emotional video. So get your emotions ready. Hey, hi guys. How are you guys doing today? Hope you guys are all having a good day. Raid. Yes, I got raided. That's awesome. I also got a new mic, so if you guys couldn't tell, you guys could actually hear me for once. And once it, oh my God, I can't speak English. I can't do English today. You guys could actually hear me for once in a lifetime. The quality sounds better. Yeah.
The water, screaming, begging to be saved while they're getting swept away by the powerful currents. Other cars are fully sinking into the bottom of the deep river. A bus behind him is crushed to half its size. The bus is now coming up to his waist, with blood just pouring out of it like someone stepped.
You already set the new one? Yeah, I'm using the new one right now. So that there's blood pouring out of the bus, bro. Blood is pouring out of the bus. I can make myself get louder. Or even louder. It sounds the same. I think it doesn't sound the same. There's a very slight difference. Very slight difference. It sounds clear. But it's so slight that's really hard to notice. You hear me low now? Yeah. I can turn it up and up and up and up. I'm gonna make it so you guys can hear me. I can turn it up now.
On a berry-flavored juice box. He could see blood-soaked hands like reaching out of the bus, trying to crawl out,
showing how I could turn it down,
and nobody
turn it up.
was coming to help them. It would be up to the 49 people floating in the middle of the river to save each other.
What do you mean nobody was coming to help?
32 people would be dead. This is the case of the Seongsu Bridge collapse in South Korea and how 32 people died without medical attention on a concrete floating island in the middle of the Han River while helicopters flew over and live streamed the whole thing to news networks.
And they didn't do anything? They didn't fucking do anything? Gonna look for a bit? Alright, alright. Rotten Mango.
We would like to thank today's sponsors who have made it possible for Rotten Mango to support Direct Relief, a humanitarian organization that is active in all 50 states and more than 80 countries, with a mission to improve the health and lives of people to stay anonymous. So we're going to be assigning aliases. Now, for years, there were ups and downs. Before, he was just another young cop in this police-issued van complaining about food prices going up. I mean, at this point, it's straight up robbery for some kimbap. I mean, it's so chisae, which means annoyingly unfair. There was this slightly bittersweet undertone to it all because this was also the last day for one of the officers in the van, which sounds, I don't know, dramatic, right? But they're not just coworkers. I mean, these officers have been working together on the force for some of them months, some of them years. A lot of officers say, other than family, the only people I would trust with my own life are my partners on duty.
Yeah.
If my partner is out there chasing a knife-wielding criminal, we're doing it together. If my partner is out there giving out parking tickets, we're doing it together. If my partner is receiving an award for exceptional performance, we're doing it together. This would be
I get it, you're doing everything together.
All together. So they're turning up the volume to this very upbeat song. It's called Cocktail Love. It's honestly the last song that you would expect police officers to be jamming out to. It's a bit of contrast too with the rainy morning outside.
The rainy morning.
Singing along while staring out the window, and they're looking into the river, the Han River that they're crossing. And then boom, it hits them. What the hell was that?
What's that?
They turn down the music. And the driver says, it's nothing. It was just like a small stone. You know, sometimes the stones come up from the road. It hit the windshield. That was a big stone, I think, though, because that sound was loud. But now with the music turned off, their ears are alert. No, but what's that sound? The car gets quiet and they're trying to listen. And it's like this low, like,
oh hell no! Oh hell no!
Sounds like the beginning of thunder, like a rumble almost. It's a deep tuk noise. It's like one that you would feel in your bones. The officer driving the car, Officer Lee, he was gonna ask the group what they thought the strange deep noise was, you know, because it's clearly not normal. But his officers start yelling from the back, "Brake! Hit the brakes! Hit the brakes!" He looks up at the road ahead of him, and the road ahead looks like it's rising. It looks like the road is getting taller out of nowhere. How is that even possible? How is it getting lifted? They're on a bridge. Is this some sort of like weird optical illusion or some sort of earthquake?
Oh, hell
And as
no.
quickly
I
as
don't
the
like
road ahead
that.
of him looked like it was growing taller, it just vanished completely. It disappeared. And then they felt this really
What?
odd, strange weightlessness in their stomach.
Oh
Like their
no.
stomachs
They're
were just
falling.
floating around inside of their
It's
bodies.
because they're falling.
And then, boom. Some of the officers screamed. Others felt everything go black. Most of them fainted. But one thing was for certain. The next time that they looked out the window, they were in the middle of the Han River.
Yup.
21-year-old Officer Lee, the driver.
21? I'm 21. He was like,
The driver's side door, and there was so much noise when he opened that door. Emergency sirens getting closer and closer. People are screaming for help. Help. He has to help. So he's forcing his trembling legs to try and move out the car because he's shaken
bro,
up.
I would be
Feels like a
shaken too.
war
I'd be
zone.
like,
It
what
feels
the
there's
fuck just
bullets just flying
happened?
towards them from all
What the
different
fuck just
angles.
happened?
Now that he's out of the car, he realizes it's not bullets, it's stone.
Yeah.
Thousands of pieces of gravel are just plummeting from the sky, landing on him, near him, clinking off the police van into the water, creating these giant splashes. He could barely keep his eyes open from all that dust.
I
And then the cold
bet.
wind. Not just the wind of the Han River, but the helicopters. There's helicopters just circling around. And he's trying to squint and look up, and 66 feet above him, 7 stories above him, is the bridge.
That's
that he had
how,
been driving
that's how
across
high it was?
just moments ago. It had a
66
giant
feet.
section just ripped from it in the middle. It's like someone punched down into the bridge, taking a giant piece of slab down to the Han River.
God
You can
damn.
see peeking over the bridge, like the edge of the bridge up there, 66 feet above him, are people, firefighters, looking terrified. He's like, why do they look so terrified? He turns his eyes back down and turns around in a full circle. They were on a sinking island.
Yup.
A piece of concrete, the slab from the bridge that was missing, was now floating in the Han River, about to sink at any moment.
And
Lee
people
turns
were,
to
and a
his
bunch of
right.
people were
There's
on
people
it.
screaming from inside the water. They're being swept away by the current. He
Oh,
turns to
no.
his left. There is blood seeping into the concrete, turning it fully dark red. He looks up and he sees a bus full of people upside down, and the bus is completely squashed. He can see long strands of hair just soaked in blood peeking out from the bus windows. Backpacks were ripped apart, and loose shreds of homework were just sitting in pools of thick blood. The next stop for this
There's no way no
bus
one survived
would have
that.
been Muhak Girls High School. In Korea, most high schools don't start class until 8-10 a.m. But technically, if you're not in your seat by 7:50 a.m., you're considered late. So most students, they try to shuffle into the classrooms
got
by
landed
7:30
upside down. If it
a.m.
would've
so you
landed-
have some time to
if
settle
it would've
down, set up
landed-
your little station, catch up with your friends.
If it would have landed right side up, it could have been fine. It would have been, my god. It's so fucked, bro. It landed upside down in front of me. So all of them, there was blood. Everything was shredded. Oh my god. That's horrible.
Finish eating the breakfast that you bought at the convenience store. Apparently they call it reading time, but most students, they do not sit calmly and read a book ready for the day to start. They're running around going from class to class, treating it like a recess, doing their hair, fixing their makeup, playing with their phones. They're doing everything. They're running, taking pictures, eating snacks. And at Muhak Girls High School, most of the students were really good about getting to class on time, except Friday, October 21st. The teachers of Muhak Girls High School walk into their classrooms and they look around. There's 8 empty seats. No one had called ahead of time. Usually if students are sick, the parents will call. If students are late, parents will call.
Right.
8 unexcused lateness, tardiness, absence. Strange, you know? Like 1 or 2, they're used to that maybe.
But 8?
They look out the window and it's just rain droplets pouring down. Okay, maybe they're late from the rain, but still, I mean, it rains all the time. They're on time. We're not sure how everyone at the school found out. Like maybe a teacher ran out of the staff room yelling at everyone, like, turn on the TVs. Maybe a student had heard about it and ran into the school saying, did you guys see what happened? But very quickly during homeroom period, Muhak Girls High School students found out that the bridge leading straight to their school that most of their classmates and friends took every single morning to get to class
Collapse.
had collapsed.
Bro, that would be
Those 8 empty
heartbreaking.
chairs
If one of my
belonging
friends
to their
was in that
friends,
bus.
they may never be filled again. Every single channel on TV, every radio station was
Me
playing
never,
the same
bro.
thing.
If you were in that bus, you are not living. I'm like, I'm sorry. And that's so heartbreaking. And that's so sad that that bus was upside down. Looks like a pancake. It was shredded and blood was coming out of it. I'm sorry, but I don't think anyone could survive that or want to survive that.
Tongsu Bridge has collapsed. Nearly 100 feet of the road collapsed and broke off into the Han River, taking down multiple vehicles with it. Eventually, the police, fire department, and soldiers on base nearby would be dispatched to this collapsed bridge. In total, 1,500 people were mobilized to the scene. Some of the news reports started sharing suspicions that North Korea was attacking South Korea, that they had bombed the bridge, causing it to collapse. It was reported by world leaders that there's a genuine risk of war that would involve chemical, biological, and nuclear weapons. The nonpartisan Congressional Research Service estimates that North Korea could rain down on Seoul with 10,000 rockets per minute, killing 300,000 South Koreans in a single day, if they wanted to.
Oh my God.
Experts estimate that
That's
in the
crazy.
long run, if North Korea attacks South Korea, millions could die from this type of escalation. So people are thinking, maybe this is just the beginning. Maybe this is the work of a North Korean rocket. While news stations are on high alert about anything regarding North Korea, all the students at the all-girls high school are just terrified. They're so anxious that their friends are not showing up to class. And that
I would be too, bro.
transportation
Oh my God, I don't want to think about how I would feel because
they try to find out if someone
my friends are like my friends are like my family basically, bro.
What car does Yuna's dad drive again? What about Sarah? They said it's only a few vehicles, right? Like, what are the odds that they were on that section of the bridge? Like, we need to calm down, right? It's gonna be okay. They had no answers. All they could do was wait, holding onto their breath, sitting at their seats, not able to focus on any of their schoolwork.
I wouldn't be able to either.
Slowly, more reports came out about the collapse, including the fact that public bus number 16 was on the bridge when it went down.
The tears will start.
Was packed like sardines. This is rush hour in South Korea. There are students with their backpacks being squished by men in suits with their briefcases, security guards heading to work trying to close their shoulders in to make room for more people. Bus number 16 had made it across the part of the bridge that collapsed, according to the news, by half of its length. The part of the bridge that collapsed went down, and bus number 16, half of the bus, was on the part that did not collapse. And the other half of the bus was suspended in the air.
That's
Oh,
even
hell no.
worse.
Yeah. There was no concrete, no ground supporting the back half of the bus. It was essentially dangling. The driver
That's
of the
horrible.
bus,
You
according to
might as well
witnesses,
been on
tried to
the
accelerate to
bus.
move the rest of the bus to the part of the bridge that hadn't collapsed, move it to safety, but it was nearly an impossible feat. A standard city bus weighs as much as 44,000 pounds with all the passengers squished inside.
Bro.
That is the weight of a whale shark. Imagine a whale shark.
Bro. It would've just been better. Fuck, it would've just been better. And when the bus was on the bridge, when it fell, and then maybe it wouldn't have did that, bro. Oh my God.
That is half off of a bridge. How would you stop it from falling? The bus driver, he tried his best to not let the bus fall, but there's just nothing you can do. You cannot go up against physics like that. He tried. Witnesses stated that he accelerated all the way until the rear wheel of the bus hit the edge of the broken bridge, but it got caught on the jagged stone. The bus driver accelerated with everything he had, but because the rear wheels were caught, it caused the entire body of the bus to go up. The bus, to a degree, was now vertical.
Oh, hell
Because he's
no.
accelerating so much and the back wheel is getting caught. It was erecting itself up on the middle of the bridge.
Oh, hell no.
Drivers on the bridge were staring in horror because they knew that there was nothing that they could do to help. The bus went up and then fell back
Oh,
to the
no.
hole.
No.
The bus made almost a semicircle as it fell all the way down 66 feet and crashed onto the concrete slab that had broken off into the river.
Head
The bus was in the
first.
worst condition because the other vehicles that had fallen with the slab, there was a crash, they were injured, there were a lot of serious injuries, but because they didn't fall onto the crash, the impact was not as hard. Bus number 16 was crushed like an aluminum soda can.
Oh, that's so
Bus
horrible.
number 16 was the bus that many of the all-girls high school kids took to get to school. The next stop on the bus, right after they crossed the bridge, would have been Wuhak Girls High School. Many families would later bring up the butterfly effect. And side note, just to clarify, I am only bringing up these types of questions.
If the bus driver didn't try to go forward, I don't want to think about this, but would the bus have not fell like that, bro?
At the time. I personally do not think any member of any victim's family should feel this way, because then it gets really easy to place blame on ourselves,
Yeah.
which I just don't agree with. A lot of families stated that they kept thinking, what if I just made my family members a little late that day? By 5 seconds? Could that have changed things? Like, what if I forced them to wake up earlier? Would that have made things different? I was thinking, they're so tired, maybe I should let them sleep in, but what if I had just woken them up on time? Would they be coming home tonight? They just kept blaming themselves and thinking about the butterfly effect. The butterfly effect is the idea that small, seemingly trivial, non-consequential events or decisions ultimately result in something with a much larger consequence.
The butterfly effect is horrible to get your mind into.
A small butterfly flaps its wings in South Korea, and somehow this tiny change in air pressure and wind would somehow lead to another tiny little event where someone kind of slaps their hair around like this. That leads to another tiny event, and another, and then it gradually snowballs, and it would eventually cause a tornado in New York. Or the idea that if you had a pile of sand, you think, okay, if I just remove a single grain of sand from this giant pile, it seems so trivial, who's gonna miss that tiny grain of sand? Who's gonna even know that I took a tiny grain of sand? But it would change the entire pile of sand.
That's horrible, though. It fell on its back. It flipped over and fell on its back, crushing people head first. The way what head. I can't. That's horrible.
One of the
That's
most
so
famous
horrible.
classics is about a man who travels back 65 million years to shoot a dinosaur. He's like, this is my dream, to kill a T-Rex. Now, according to history, the T-Rex was gonna die anyway that day because a falling tree would land on it, killing it. But he's obsessed. He's obsessed with wanting to kill this T-Rex. So he time travels, and the tour guide takes him there. Time travel tour guide. But when he goes up to shoot the T-Rex, the man starts getting scared. The T-Rex is so big, like what if the bullet doesn't kill him and it just makes him angry, and then the T-Rex is gonna kill me? He's frozen in fear. The guide has to step off the path, because they have a time travel path, step off the path to shoot the T-Rex so that it won't kill them.
Oh,
They time
God.
travel back to the future, and everything has changed.
Yeah.
Language is no longer the same. An evil dictator is now in power, and it just doesn't make sense. The T-Rex was gonna die that day anyway from a fallen tree. Why does it matter if it was shot or not? It's dead. Ultimately, the T-Rex was gonna die.
Right.
They look down, and they see a crushed butterfly stuck to their boot. And the story shows how just them stepping off the path, stepping on a butterfly, changes history forever.
Which is crazy.
It's terrifying on its own if you think about it too
Yeah.
long. But a lot of parents of the victims in this story, they just kept bringing up the butterfly effect. They said they kept asking themselves, could things have played out differently somehow? Maybe I would have asked if they wanted a coffee, and if they drank a coffee before they headed out, then they wouldn't have been on that part of the bridge. Or maybe I could have made them wake up 5 minutes earlier. Or maybe the night before I made them sleep 5 minutes earlier. Or maybe I was gonna shower, but I couldn't.
I'm telling you guys, once your mind gets set in the butterfly effect, when someone you like love and shit passes away, that shit is hard to get out of, and it's depressing as fuck. I've been there.
Have just let them shower first. Or what if they wore a specific tennis shoe that takes a few extra seconds longer to tie? Could that have changed the outcome of things?
Oh no.
Yuna had stayed up late at night drawing again. She was a junior at the Muha Girls High School, and after all of her studies, her one guilty pleasure at night was to just draw. The next morning, Friday morning, she woke up a tiny bit later than usual. I mean, at this rate, she was gonna miss her bus to school, and Yuna's dad offered her, hey, I'm gonna drive to work, the bus stop is on the way, get in the car, I'm gonna drop you off at the bus stop. Yuna did not even respond to him. She grabbed her backpack, got in his car, and she crossed her arms and stared out the window. Yuna's dad is trying to make eye contact with his daughter to see if there was an opening for conversation, but nothing.
Regret.
She refused to look at him, and she just stared out the window. It was kind of a cold war. Yuna's dad had spanked her a few days ago.
What?
You know, she's a high schooler, so they're having like it's very normal.
Wait, what?
It seemed like neither of them wanted to.
Her dad spanked her and she's in high school? That's not right. That sounds like... Yeah, I can't say that soon, but that sounds bad. Lock him up. I don't like him. I don't like it.
Apologize first. So the whole drive all the way to the bus stop, they don't say a single word to each other. When he parks the car, he turns to his daughter, but she's already out the door and she's saying "Kata uke," which means I'll see you at home later.
Hello.
And she closes the door.
Hi, Graham. Welcome to the stream. We are reacting to Deadly Korean bridge collapse that killed 32 bus full of students fell 66 feet into Harlem River. We're just going to see some videos today, and after we are going to see possibly another one. We might play some games, but this is just about because I'm so tired. We're thinking a little bit more of a chill and relaxed stream, reacting to videos. This is already, it's almost only 26 minutes in, and this is already crazy and sad, bro. My name is Chase. I'm Demon Hellhound. And I come up every day. Well, not every day, whatever. Couple days a week. I come up to Earth to hang out with y'all and to spread some support and to stream and try to get to know people, meet new friends, and all that stuff to go back down.
Walks off to the bus stop. And when she gets there, the bus is not there, and she's wondering, did I miss the bus? Ah, man, when is the next one gonna get here? And she watches as her dad drives off. Another student from the same school, Muhak Girls High School, was trying to...
I heard dad drive. Do you react to requests that you think at all? I want to start doing it. The reason why I don't really react to stuff like that, because usually I don't get enough people in chat who request stuff. So if I had enough people in chat to request stuff, or even now, if anyone wants to request, oh my god, I can't speak sometimes. Request stuff, I would do it.
And make it to that same bus stop. She was a senior then. Her name is Sarah, and she had overslept. She stayed up studying for the college entrance exam. Like, this girl had not known a good night's rest in a really long time.
Yeah, you can send the song. And I could listen to it after I react to this video. In between, then we can react to listening to that, and then after I react to listening back, we go on to the next video.
She barely washed her face, barely brushed her teeth by the time that she's running out the front door with her backpack thrown over one shoulder, her mom telling her, be careful! And she's running as fast as she can, trying to not get caught behind all these very sweet, very kind, but incredibly slow walking elderly people. Sorry, excuse me. She could see the bus stop at this point, and she sees the bus that she's supposed to be on. This is the last one that she could take in order to not be late for school, is stopped at the bus stop, letting passengers on.
Oh,
so
no.
She's screaming, running, waving her arms. Wait, don't leave, please. I'm coming. Only one of the two students from the Muhak Girls High School would be alive by the end of the day.
Oh my god.
Snow globes are a little sadistic if you think about it. Like, there's a cute family inside of this clear sphere, and you see the family and their dog and their little house in the back, and you pick it up and you shake it with everything you have, and then you just excitedly watch as they have to face this cold blizzard all by themselves. We are genuinely the makers of chaos. The 11 police officers who all managed to survive the collapse, they felt like they were in a snow globe. They had been living their lives to the best of their abilities, following the laws, starting their own families, and some sadistic, unknown person had come by and violently shaked up their world, and even now, they feel like they're in a snow globe. 66 feet under the bridge in the middle of the Han River, they could hear the helicopters above them. They could see the fire trucks parked at the top of the bridge above them, rescuers' heads just poking over the edge, staring at them.
That's crazy, bro.
They could hear them barking all sorts of orders over the megaphones. We need a port here. Get the equipment down here. Someone mobilize the cruise ships. But being police officers, they knew nobody was prepared for anything like this. They knew that they didn't have time to wait for any of that. They could hear people screaming, help me, help me. They all start whipping
people are
around
literally
to try and find out
dying.
who's screaming, who needs help most urgently. One
And
of
some
the
people are
officers
even in the
points into
water.
There are two people being swept away by the current. They're gonna die. The Han River is known to have really strong currents to the point that it's advised that you only swim in the designated beach areas. It would take just a moment for them to disappear with the current and just be dragged under the water.
That's
The rain is
horrible.
making it even harder for the officers to see, but they cannot miss these tiny 2 dots in the water because right next to them is their half-submerged car going down. When the bridge collapsed and all hell broke loose, the silver car landed directly in the water instead of on the concrete island.
Bro.
2 teachers that were in the car managed to escape the quickly sinking vehicle, but now they're at risk of drowning unless someone saves them. So the officers are screaming, "Get the tire!" The officers didn't even think about what they're doing. They're going into full autopilot mode. They're trained to act in crisis situations, so that's exactly what they're doing. They're focused.
Right.
Get the tire. They work in unison to grab the spare tire, connect it to a rope, and they hurl it into the river. Grab the tire! The tire did not reach the teachers. It's
Oh,
not
no.
working. They're only getting further away. They're getting dragged by the current. So 2 of the officers, they look at each other, they look at the others, and without hesitation or saying a single word,
They jump into the water.
dive into the cold
Yep,
water.
knew it. Knew it.
They managed to reach the 2 teachers and bring them back to the concrete island.
Damn.
The 2 teachers, Teacher Kim and Teacher Park, soaking wet, their hair is sticking to their foreheads. They're grabbing onto the wet police officers. There's 2 more teachers in the car. Please, they're our coworkers. We carpool with them for the past 2 years. You need to go get them. The other 2 teachers would never make it back to their classrooms.
Oh my
And then the
god.
cries became unbearable. All the police officers could hear were people begging to be saved, to be helped. Some were screaming in a frantic, high-pitched voice. Others were moaning as if they had stacks of bricks on top of them. And this is all the air
This
they
is
can muster out.
horrible.
The officers look over at the bus that crashed down next to them, and it's flipped upside down.
Like, there's no way anybody in that bus could have survived. It landed upside down. And they said there was blood pooling out of it. And like, they could see their fucking backpacks and homework shredded. And like, bloody hair staying on the bus. Like, come on, bro. That's horrible. Why did it have to land like that?
Down, and in the impact of the crash, of it crashing onto this concrete island, it had been completely squashed. If you stood next to the bus now, it would come back to your waist. That's how tall it was. The bus was flipped upside down, but it's crushed to the point where certain parts of the bus, the floor is touching the ceiling of the bus.
The floor
It's like if
is touching
someone
the
stepped
ceiling.
on an aluminum soda can,
There's no way they
crushing it,
survived, bro.
pancaking it.
Again, I
There were
don't want
bus
to think
chairs
about
popping
that.
out of the bus, just scattered outside.
I don't
Parts of
want to
the
think
metal
about
walls
it.
of
I
the
don't want to
bus
think
had
about
popped
it.
off
I don't
and
want
crumpled
to
on the
think
side of the
about it.
bus. The glass windows are all broken. School bags, lunch boxes of students are protruding out of the bus, soaked in liquid. It was blood. 21-year-old Officer Lee remembered looking at the bus, seeing the blood flowing out like a squash juice can, and he said there were layers of people on top of people. It was literally hell on earth.
Yeah.
But he has to snap out of it.
But
Voices are
I can't
calling
even. I
him
can't even. I can't even think of that. I don't want to think
He
about
goes
that.
back into focus mode, trying not to
That's-
think about who these people are, what's going on, where everybody was headed, the fact that 2 seconds ago he was headed to receive an award. He's not thinking about his family. He's thinking about saving lives, and that is it. The situation was being broadcasted live in all news stations in South Korea by the helicopter circling above. The people trapped in the collapse were really in their own snow globe. The whole nation is watching them without any single way to help. All the police officers would be seen on the news stations on the sinking island wearing nothing but their underwear.
Oh my
But
god.
it's only 40 degrees outside.
Oh my
Officer
god.
Lee and the other officers start pulling people out as gently as possible from this crushed bus. And all the other officers that are assisting, they would pull a person out, a middle-aged man, suit covered in blood, students in uniform covered in blood. They would look at the officers and they would say, "Thank you, I'm so cold." And with each person
They were
pulled out of the
alive?
wreckage, the officers would just start shedding articles of their clothes. Every single person that they rescued out of the bus told them, "I'm so cold," and they're shivering. And the officers knew that that is a dangerous combination. So blood loss causes your core body temperature to fall. It can
Oh,
actually
and
lead
they
to
were bleeding a
hypothermia
lot
and
because there was
death.
blood pouring on the
Normal
bus.
body temperatures are at 98.6, but
And
when
they
it gets
probably
below
died.
95
Not
degrees
even-
Fahrenheit,
some of them
you're
probably
at risk
died
of your
in the
body shutting
crash,
down.
and some of them probably died the amount of blood loss and because how cold it was outside. They probably died just from the cold, bro. Like, they probably didn't even make it to the hospital. That's so sad.
Hypothermia can lead to complete failure of your heart by causing an irregular heartbeat, respiratory systems go down, and eventually that leads to death. And a lot of these people being pulled out of the bus are showing signs of hypothermia. Yeah, it's only 40 degrees outside, but from blood loss. They're becoming hypothermic.
Right.
Not to mention, it's the end of October before 8 a.m. Even just being outside would have been chilly in South Korea. But
yeah.
On the Han River, those current, those winds, it likely feels much colder, and it's raining.
Yeah, and it's raining,
Officer
bro.
Lee would take off his police jacket and give it to the first person he pulled out. Then he ripped off his shirt, gave it to the next person. Then his pants. He pulled another person out of the bus, a student. They said, "I'm so cold," and he looked down. He has no more clothes. He's in just his underwear. And he's thinking quick on his feet. He runs to the police van and he starts ripping the car seat covers to take off so that he can provide some sort of warmth. And when it finally rips off the seat, he runs towards the student he just pulled out and he said, "I got it, here, take the..."
You're dead.
The student was dead. The officers had to keep going though, even though it just started to feel pointless and painful.
So
They rushed to get everybody out of the
bro.
bus and cover them with car seat covers. They would ask the person they just pulled out, "Ajashi, are you okay? Do you need help right now? Is this warm enough? Here, take the car seat cover." No. Thank you. Thank you so much. Go save the others. Go.
She
The
died.
officers would turn around, go back into the bloody bus, drag another person out, and place them right down next to the Ajashi, who was now dead.
Yeah.
In another instance, Officer Lee pulled out a man from the bus. He was covered in blood, badly injured. He's still actively bleeding. And like the others, he desperately needs medical attention. I mean, this is life or death. Officer Lee sits him down and he's reassuring him, like, "Just hold on tight, okay, Ajashi? The rescue boats are coming. They're gonna be here very, very soon. Just stay awake."
He died.
Officer Lee looks
They
up
died.
out into the river to
They
see where
always
the
die.
rescue boats are, how far in the distance they are, and he starts smiling because he can see them speeding towards the concrete island, and this is good. And he looks down. The
And
man
they're
is
dead.
dead. It felt like every time they rescued someone, they would turn around to help someone else, and the person they just rescued
Would
would
die.
be dead.
That's
They
so
were alive 2
sad.
seconds ago, and now they're dead. It would take 30 minutes for the rescue boats to arrive. Rescue operations began.
Bro.
And bodies were carried onto boats.
I
with
couldn't, bro. I
stretchers.
couldn't.
Helicopters used rescue
Like, your
bags
whole-
to now
It's like
lift
only
dead
so much
bodies.
difference in him. Like,
Rescue
I
teams
saved him.
took way
Go
too
and save
long.
another one. Goes
When they
back,
first heard
and
the
the person
bridge
they just
collapse, most
saved
of them made
is
their way
gone.
onto the bridge
Dead.
to the giant hole in the center. But
And
what the
then
hell
it
are you
happens
gonna do
again and
there?
again. Like,
So they wasted a lot of time
like,
driving
I
back
can't.
off the bridge, finding boats to get to them, to get to the site of the collapse by water this time. It was also later revealed that the call center employees briefly thought all the calls coming in about the collapse were prank calls. So they wasted even more time.
Are you
that they could have
serious?
used
Prank
to save
calls?
lives by contacting the correct people like the Navy. 32 people died that day, 9 being students, and 17 more people were injured. It is widely believed that if the rescue boats had come sooner, more people would have been saved.
Dude, they
And
thought
now
it
with
was
the
prank
rescue teams
calls.
doing what they should have done 30 minutes ago, administering medical care. The 11 police officers, they sat down to catch their breath for the very first time since the collapse. Officer Lee, he's 21. He called his dad because he usually reports to his parents, and I believe he was still in a state of shock though, because he just told his dad very bluntly everything that happened like he was still on autopilot. I mean, he was so nonchalant. He stated, "Yeah, Dad, Seongsu Bridge collapsed, and I rescued some people out, so it's fine. Don't worry about it." And his dad responded, okay, 조심해, be safe," and he hung up. It did not register in that moment for Officer Lee's dad what his son was saying. After the line went dead, his dad stood there processing what his precious son had just told him. And he immediately called him back and he screamed into the phone, "You're where?" The Seongsu
Oh my
Bridge
God.
was a symbol of economic power. The Seongsu Bridge was built 15
It's
years
like, wait a
before the
minute, what he
collapse. I
gets
mean, it was
back?
part of the government's plan to modernize
he
Seoul
said he
before
was
the
where?
Summer Olympics were coming. Listen, don't even get me started on the Olympics and what the cities will do for Olympics. It was going to be held in Korea. They wanted Seoul to be cleaned up. The government spent $470 million to clean up the Han River. Just clean it up
Damn,
from
that's a lot of
pollution.
money.
They said the Han is like clothing to the people of Seoul.
So this
yes.
is Olympics, 1990s?
Yeah. something to wear daily with pride, something to keep clean. Our fathers and their fathers would swim in the Han. It's our lifeblood. And yet, 32 people had just died because the bridge collapsed into the Han River. And there were signs that the bridge was gonna go down. 10 hours before the bridge collapsed,
there
a
were
large
signs?
gap had
Wait,
formed
what?
in one of the joints on the floor of the bridge. Like, you could look
10
into it
hours
and see water.
before?
It was a large gap. Seoul City was alerted, and they sent workers out there to lay a small iron plate on top of the gap so that nobody's tires would get stuck. And it wasn't even, yeah.
Bro,
I
are
say
you
small iron plate.
serious?
It's not small. It was 4 feet by 7 feet.
They're trying to put a band-aid on a bridge?
Literally, quite literally.
Why
they
are
put a
people
Band-Aid
so
on the bridge.
stupid?
Slapped a Band-Aid on.
You think slapping it? People are so stupid. People are so stupid. What? Oh, we'll just slap a band-aid on a big hole in a bridge and it'll all be fine. It will hold it together, right? It's not like there's thousands of things driving on it every fucking day.
It was 160 feet from the site of the collapse. They were going to repair the joint later, they said, but they postponed it due to bad weather, which is fine.
Bro.
But then why not just shut the bridge
Yeah,
down?
but you should have
until
shut
it's
it
repaired?
down.
The next morning, about an hour and a half prior to the bridge collapsing, reports started coming in that people could hear these creaking noises coming from the bridge.
You
know
should
those
have
horror
really
movies where they walk
known.
into those old haunted houses and it feels like the entire house is thundering. They said it sounded like that, but on a bridge, which can't be great. It sounds like a monster. Like
That's why I don't like going on bridges. This is why I don't like going on bridges. I hate going on bridges. Bridges scare the shit out of me, and this is why I hate. This is why.
Seoul City said once again that they would check it out, but after the rain stopped, less than an hour later, the bridge collapsed.
You never had a chance to
Over
check out
30
on it.
people died and more were missing. Search teams consisting of 150 personnel were sent into the water to locate more bodies. Professional divers, the Navy were all involved. They found the silver car with the 2 remaining teachers inside. They had drowned. And a little while later, searchers came across another fully submerged vehicle, a gray Hyundai, and the driver had not been able to escape from the submerged vehicle. He was also dead. After 5 days, they called off the search and no more bodies were found in that area of the Han River. 32 dead, 29 from the bus, 9 of them being students, and 3 that drowned. Muhak Girls' high school graduation was 4 months after this. Everyone showed up.
You had 4 months
even
to go,
students who were
bro.
graduating that year, parents of students, they all rallied to show support for 8 students that would never be coming back. Many of the parents of the deceased brought in a single yellow tulip in memory of their children.
Oh.
Sarah brought one in too. The bus never waited for Sarah, the one that collapsed. And that is the only reason that she survived.
She's so lucky. She has to be
The bus
lucky.
driver said that we couldn't go by this Hongsu Bridge route, and I was surprised that we passed a different bridge to go to school. I ran into the classroom because I was late, and everyone was crying and hugging me. Everyone thought that something had happened to me because I hadn't come to school on time. They were playing the news. They said Yuna and her dad had a big fight a few days before she was killed. Most high schoolers, they have a hatred for parents lecturing them. And in that car, her dad thought, wow, she's really mad at me. But Yuna she's a high schooler. She didn't know how to apologize yet. And she didn't know when was the appropriate time to give her dad this letter because she felt like her dad was still mad at her. And so she saved that letter in her backpack. And it read, "To my loving dad. Dad, I can't hide my tears whenever I think about you. I know that your heart must hurt 100 or 1,000 more times when you spank me.
Oh
Dad,
my
don't
God.
think that
I
you
still
spanked
think.
me. Think of it as you were spanking the bad thing inside of me. And I really,
I'm so sorry. I still think this was weird for a dad to spank their high school daughter. Now that might just be me, but I think that's weird as fuck, and I don't like that. That sounds a little pervy to me, but it's different in China, Korea, whatever.
really, really love you so much that it feels like my heart is gonna explode. And I promise I'm just gonna keep doing my best to make you proud. Appa fighting. And it was signed from Yuna, who loves her dad very much. Yuna's dad would die 2 years later from a serious health condition, but friends and family knew that he was in a rush to go tell Yuna that he received her letter. Another family, the Kangs, they lost their youngest son, Peter, in the collapse. When Mr. and Mrs. Kang heard that Peter was gone, that he was killed in the collapse, they fell to the ground and they were slamming their fists down, screaming, "Peter, Peter." It was Peter's last day at work today. He had quit his job to focus on his studies of becoming an accountant, and his parents felt guilty. They couldn't help but think, had the collapse happened just a day later, had Peter just quit a day earlier, their precious son would be alive today. Bridges are all about balance. To simplify it, when you have a force going down, like gravity, the structure is going to go down. But when you have a force going up and a force coming down, the structure can stay still if it's perfectly balanced. Now, there's a ton of different types of bridges, but all of them are about balancing forces. So take a beam bridge, for example. This is the cheapest, most simple type of bridge. So picture you get two stools, two chairs together. You place them a few feet apart and then place a wooden plank on top.
Yeah.
There you have a beam bridge. Now let's say you want to make this beam bridge longer. You got to get creative, because imagine you just push the chairs further apart and try to balance a longer wooden plank. Suddenly the weight is going to feel heavier. It's going to start sloping down in the middle of that wooden plank when you put weight on it, right? It looks like it's going to snap in half. So what do? I mean, technically, you could add another chair in the middle to balance out the weight, but that's not the cheapest or the easiest solution. You want to keep a good chair distance from each chair. So you don't want to spend so many chairs on this wooden plank. So what do? You add trusses to it. Imagine you have 4 toothpicks. You tape them up into a square. How easy would it be for you to take your finger, put it on the one corner of the square, push it down, and suddenly it's not a square anymore. It's a different shape. Pretty easy, right? Because it's just going to bend.
Yeah.
So what would be the best way to ensure that it doesn't tilt?
Doesn't tilt? Oh, you add like 2 more in the middle, cross it.
Just add one. Just add one diagonal. So now instead of a square, it looks like 2 triangles. Triangular support systems are great in bridge structures. I mean, they're great at holding their shape and not falling to pressure. It's very evenly distributed. And that's what a truss is. So this Hongsu bridge was a truss bridge that relied on these triangular support beams to hold it up. So there would be a pillar or a chair, and then the bridge part that the cars are driving on would be on top of these triangular support systems.
Right.
And then another pillar, and then more triangular support systems. And it means that the bridge can use way less pillars or chairs in our example. So for context, another bridge in South Korea would be categorized more as like a steel beam bridge, like a regular bridge. Each pillar or chair is about 110 feet apart. This Hongsu bridge, the pillars are almost 400 feet apart, because the Hongsu Bridge has these triangular support systems, which is typically a very smart and safe way to create good bridges. But that also means one of the most important parts of this bridge is gonna be the truss, the toothpick part. And it's not actually toothpicks, they're steel beams, but you get the idea. And more importantly, one of the most important things are going to be how the toothpicks are attached to each other to create these triangular shapes, the joints. That's what's welded together. That's the welding part. So another analogy that's hopefully going to make it super easy to see how horrible this Hongsu Bridge was constructed. If you have to tape 2 pieces of paper together, the cheapest way to do it would be what? You get 4 pieces of double-sided sticky tape, put them on each corner of one piece of tape, slap them on the corners of the piece of paper, slap the other paper on top.
Yeah.
But let's say you want to spend a little more money, make it a little more secure. Maybe you tape the borders, all 4 sides, and then slap the other piece of paper on top. Or if there are millions of lives on the line and it depends on these 2 pieces of paper being taped together for years through all sorts of weather conditions, the best thing that you can do would not just be tape the corners or the borders, but everything. Apply double-sided sticky tape to the entire page and then stick the other paper on top of it. Every part is essentially glued together.
Right.
Hongsu bridge constructors were supposed to do that, but they just taped the borders and called it a day.
Are you fucking
For the
serious?
Trusses, the triangular support systems.
Bro, lock them up.
Save money.
Why is it always about money with these people? Stingy fucking people. It's always about money. And they want to save money, so something goes wrong, and people die just because people wanted to save money. That is so fucked up. Everything is not about money, people. It's not all about money. If you would have spent that amount of money, people wouldn't be dead. And it's always the fucking rich people too who have that money and don't want to spend it on something so fucking important like that. And it's so fucked up. So fucked up.
To save time and money, a lot of money. They also didn't use high quality tape or welding materials, if you want to.
Are you serious, bro?
It was actually stated that the bridge should have collapsed maybe like 4 years after it was built.
Oh my god.
Construction. I mean, once they started investigating, people were surprised how this bridge even lasted this long. A Korean news station, MBC, went underwater to the scene of the accident of the concrete island, and they saw that the collapsed portion trusses, the triangular support systems, were held together, and the welding, they could literally unscrew bolts with their own hands.
That's fucked up.
Other rusty parts of the bridge could just be ripped apart by a single hand. Like the cameraman had one camera in his hand and then the other hand was just ripping apart the bridge.
Wow.
Bro.
Other times, there were parts of the bridge that needed nails to hold two things together. Very important, obviously. Now, the nail is supposed to be, let's say, a foot long, but the nail would only be 3 inches long.
Oh my god.
The welding, the taped paper, it broke off during the collapse and it looked like it exploded from the weight. It straight up looks like a cardboard box that was torn open, like it was not done at all. Like I mentioned previously, Seoul was going through this rapid expansion phase. Government bids for construction projects would typically go to companies that promised the government that they had the fastest construction, which is great in theory because, yeah, we need more bridges to cross the Han River, but not great in theory because it inherently incentivizes the company to be cheap and rush the construction at the expense of safety. People
That's
said
not
that this was all
good.
part of South Korea's
These are people's lives here.
So bali, it translates to like hurry, hurry, quickly, quickly. But in the cultural context, bali culture is kind of like rushing people to do things quickly or get something done at a faster pace. You will very often hear Koreans saying like bali, like bali 갖다 줘, like hurry, hurry, everybody hurry. You go to Korea, you're standing on the side for 2 seconds too long. People are like, you gotta hurry it up. It's similar to New York where no one has time for you to just stop in the middle of the sidewalk. Deliveries are fast, internet speeds are fast, everything is about bali. The bridge was constructed by the company Donga ENC. They promised the government that they would construct the bridge at half the cost of the other construction companies. They were contracted by the government to build almost a mile-long bridge across the Han River for $63 million. Which is a lot, don't get me wrong, right? But a lot of major bridges, I mean, albeit some of them are a lot longer, but they can easily cost hundreds of millions and most of them closer to $1 billion.
Wow.
So Donga is charging $63 million, half of what the other contractors in Korea are asking the government for, which sounds alarming, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But the citizens were like, you know what? Donga is the best construction company in Korea right now.
Are
it's like
they?
the second largest contractor.
I don't think they are.
And there's nothing we can do about it. It's the government choice.
Wait, so they asked for half and it's gonna do it in double the speed?
Yeah. They're like, we're gonna do it quicker and for cheaper. So people thought, I mean, not that citizens had a choice. I'm not saying the citizens voted for this. The government gives it to whoever I guess they're sleeping in bed with, right? But the citizens felt a little bit reassured because the company had a lot of good publicity. The chairman of Donga, Chairman Choi, was often hailed as some sort of construction hero. They called him the one who can accomplish the impossible. So if we give the government the benefit of the doubt, maybe they genuinely thought that Donga had some sort of crazy system or skill to make things happen more efficiently and cheaper than other companies. After the collapse, Donga made a statement and said, our company's warranty is over. The company's warranty for the bridge was 5 years. Afterwards, we cannot be held responsible for the accident.
Oh my god.
We have no legal responsibility for this.
That's fucked up. You're fucked up for that.
It was so cold. There was nothing
No,
about
yeah,
the
see, that was
victims.
so cold.
This is legal.
No, sorry for your losses. No remorse. Fucking, oh god. What is wrong with people? All they care about is money. Oh, it's not our fault. Our contract was out. You can't blame us for doing this, bitch.
Not my fault. But Chairman Choi of Donga definitely did not help the situation. He visited the scene of the collapse the day of, and he said, if Donga is responsible, we will take full responsibility. But then his tone changed a few days later, and he said, in order to realize Donga's moral responsibility as the constructor of the Seongsu Bridge, with this incident, we are being reborn. Basically saying, hey guys, if you want us to, because we constructed this bridge, morally, we're taking responsibility. Not legally, Don't get it twisted. Morally. But now we are reborn because we did something so great.
Fuck you.
We morally took responsibility.
Oh my god, I can't.
Eventually, an investigation was opened into the bridge's collapse. Chairman Choi's entire attitude changed and he said, look, I've been to Seongsu Bridge countless times, driven over it. Let me ask you a question. Would I have gone to Seongsu Bridge if I ordered it to be built cheaply and fast and without regard to safety?
Yes.
The company essentially argued that the bridge was fine for the past 15 years, so it's not their fault. If it was this bad, how would it have lasted 15 years? They started shifting the blame to Seoul City, the city government, for negligence on maintaining the bridge. They stated that for the responsibility of managing all the bridges over the Han River is done by the city of Seoul. The city is required to conduct safety inspections on facilities every single year. So does that mean they ran their tests and their results said the bridge was fine? Were they not thorough in their testing? Did they even test the bridge? It was later revealed that after 15 years of its construction, the Seongsu Bridge was never subjected to any detailed inspections.
That's crazy. Never had an inspection. It's oh my god.
Very dangerous thing to note. The government never restricted heavy vehicles from the bridge, nor did they try to limit them. Which that's a huge pivotal part of ensuring the safety of bridges, because bridges, yes, they're supposed to be safe. You have to make sure that they're not overloaded though, because that could cause a collapse. There is no bridge that has unlimited weight limits. They're all built to only withstand a certain amount of weight. So not only did the government completely disregard the safe limit of the weight, they were doing more. The bridge had started off as a 4-lane bridge, and it was still a 4-lane bridge when it collapsed. But there were plans to get rid of the pedestrian lanes on both sides, redo the bridge, like the paint of the lanes, and make it 5 lanes.
Bro.
They were gonna add on more load, more heavy cars, more buses, more transport.
Should have only been 2.
More weight to this already exhausted, stressed structure.
Right.
Now it makes it seem like it's all the government's fault, but yeah, I think it's both their faults. Like both sides hold so much responsibility. Tonga's construction of this bridge is so well known internationally by engineers and even used as a case study for civil engineering students for the abysmal, terrifying, reckless construction.
This is crazy, bro. Oh my god, it's so crazy.
Allegedly, Tonga hired an expert in steel plate welding. So that's like the tape part I was telling you about. The joints, the most important part, very important of a truss bridge. But when that expert insisted on, hey guys, we need to go a little bit slower because we need to inspect the steel plates thoroughly because this is the most important part.
Right.
He was allegedly fired.
Oh my god.
Seoul prosecutors launched a criminal investigation into the bridge collapse. They were, in a way, investigating their own peers, and they did not like what they found. Seoul
I bet they did it, bro. I bet they did it.
And tasked them with handling the bridge maintenance and repairs. So let's call that B Corporation to keep things simple. B Corp had submitted a report to Seoul earlier that year. So this is in October. They did it early spring. They said, hey, the steel joints and the beams, yeah, they're compromised. It is in urgent need of repair. Which doesn't sound like a we'll get to it when we get to it type of problem, but Seoul did not do anything about it.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So it's about money and people not doing shit when they're told to do it.
Arrested 7 B Corp officials because prior to this urgent message sent to Seoul, the bridge had so many red flags that they didn't even inspect.
Oh my god.
Like they let it get to this point. They could have flagged it earlier on, but they were too lazy to do daily reports. They never checked it out. And then finally, earlier that year, they finally checked it out. And they were like, ooh, no one should be on this bridge. It's going to collapse any second now. 4 Seoul metropolitan government officials were arrested for disregarding that very urgent message sent earlier this year about the compromised beams.
Right.
Moving on, business as usual. 6 Tonga construction officials were arrested for obvious reasons for the construction of the bridge. And there was debate on whether or not
at least people are going to jail for this shit, bro. People are so fucking lazy and stupid and so selfish. Oh my god.
Honestly, just feels like a slap on the wrist. And in the end, they received sentences ranging from 6 months to 3 years in prison.
Oh my god. That's nothing.
Literally nothing.
You need to lock them up forever, bro.
The parent company of Tonga Construction would file for bankruptcy, and the government promised. They're like, things are going to change, guys. Things are going to be different from now on. We will care for civilian lives.
No, you won't.
8 months after the bridge's collapse, the Sampung department store in Gangnam would collapse, killing 502 people, which we have covered in a previous episode. 8 months apart. and you can still go to the Seongsu Bridge today. But it's not the same one from the collapse. The government at first...
Yeah, I heard about the building one collapse, and we'll react to that one later. We're not going to react to that one today, but another day, and that was even worse.
There was huge public outcry, and it didn't seem like anyone would ever drive on that bridge, even if it was repaired. So the government decided to hire another company to fully dismantle the existing Seongsu Bridge and build a completely new bridge in its place. The new bridge, which I believe did recycle some parts of the old bridge, it was built by Hyundai Engineering and Construction for $140 million. And side note, the deceased victims' families were compensated about $200,000 from Seoul, about $52,000 from Seoul City, and $60,000 from Tonga, reaching about $312,000 per victim, which, I mean, that's nothing.
Yeah, I'd say that's nothing compared to a life.
Also received a bit of help in terms of medical bill assistance, but really nothing. The police officers who actively rescued people and were traumatized and were victims, they received nothing.
Right, like, bro.
No compensation, no mental health.
They put their lives on the line. They did something that some people wouldn't do. They're, oh, well, thanks, I guess. I don't know what she wants us to do about it. Like, bro.
Now he eats whatever he wants because you don't know when your last meal is. Officer Lee, the 21-year-old, he struggles heavily with PTSD and survivor's guilt. He said, "The most regrettable thing is I couldn't save more people. And then
I become traumatized too. Saving someone and then turning your back to another person who gets say that's dead."
Another victim. The father of one of the students who died in the crash. He would always visit the new bridge when he thought of his daughter because there's pedestrian lanes. But it was just too hard. On the 4th anniversary of his daughter's death, he took his own life at the spot where the bus had fallen.
Oh my god.
His family said he blamed himself for not being able to protect his daughter. Many of the victims' families fainted when they were asked to come ID their loved ones in the beginning. One mother cried out, my baby, how can I live? How can I live on without my child? Please go look at my child, and please somebody just wipe the blood off of him, please. Wipe the blood off of my baby. It hurts." One family member of a victim said, "There are a lot of accidents with hundreds of victims. Sometimes the number 32 feels small. That's why I feel like our loved ones get forgotten sometimes. The number is not what matters, though. What matters is there should not be a single person who ever dies like this again. I don't want the world to forget." And even though,
and it's so sad because it happens more than we think.
Banners are hung up near the Seongsu Bridge Memorial, and they read, "Even if the whole world forgets, 엄마, Mom, will never forget." And that is the case of the Seongsu Bridge collapse. What are your thoughts? If you listen to this Hampung department store, I mean, is it crazy knowing that this happened just 8 months prior and that still occurred?
That's crazy.
In the comments, and please stay safe.
That's insanely crazy.
For the next time.
That's insanely crazy because, oh, this happened. We promise it will never happen again. 8 months later, a building will collapse, killing 500 people. 500 people will die in a building that was told that if you do not shut down this building, it will collapse. It was not set up right. People were supposed to pay money to make it better, and they wanted to cut stuff in half and make it not so good to save some fucking money. I swear to God, I can't with people. Alright. So before we watch this next one, we are going. Alright guys, if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe with the bell, turn on post notifications, and all that good stuff. Hope you guys did enjoy this very crazy, sad video. Shout out to Ryan Mango though. She's really good at posting these videos, and she's amazing. So go subscribe to her channel if you want to help support her. And I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye!